If you just bought an N55 powered BMW, you now have one of the more reliable engines BMW has to offer. But before you start modding your car, here's a few things you should know coming from an N55 owner. So the number one reason why this engine gets hated the most is the reason why I'm holding this piston. This piston came out of my old engine. This is the second engine that I've gone through. There's two reasons why this can happen to you. Number one, if you track the car and you turn left and pull high G's, the oil sloshes to the right side of the engine, opposite of where the pickup tube is. And because the engine is slanted to the right, it rides up the wall. And now your pickup tube takes in some air and you lose oil pressure, causing a ton of issues. Number two is the way I blew it, and that's doing donuts. Now the same principle applies to donuts. Since you're swerving the car around, that oil is going to slosh out of the way from the pickup tube, and the same thing will happen. This is the actual piston that I messed up. This was piston number 4, and it's the only one that spun a bearing. However, it also took the crankshaft out with it, so I had to go and get a new motor, and I put ACL bearings in it so that doesn't happen again. Now there's two solutions that you can go with, and that is going with the S55 bottom end. You have 3 pickup tubes, 3 different pickup locations for the oil, so you do not starve the engine, as well as an all metal oil pump design. The second solution is a baffle kit. There's a few people that sell baffle kits online. They have proven to raise oil pressure. However, the S55 design is the best way. The second thing to look out for is your oil filter housing gasket. Over time, it will leak. It'll drip onto your serpentine belt, which will then slip off and get sucked into the crank pulley, get past the front main seal, and end up in your oil pan. And it will plug your pickup tube, which will have the same outcome as spinning a bearing. This is a very cheap and easy fix. All you have to do is buy a crank seal guard. There's many companies that make them. You install that right behind the crank pulley, and you no longer will have the issue of it getting past the front main seal, because that will block it from getting past. Number 3 is going to be the valve cover. This is another cheap one. Now, go with OEM valve covers. Don't go off Amazon, because the PCV system is built into the actual valve cover. Now, you know if the valve cover is bad because you'll get smoking out of the engine bay. You'll have a weird whining / screaming noise coming from the valve cover, and the car will also just run really rough. Or you will most likely find a leak at the bottom of the valve cover on this end where you can't really see it, but it'll drip onto your downpipe, and that's why it starts smoking. Now, while you're there, I would also recommend replacing this PCV hose. It will break usually when you take the valve cover off. It just gets brittle over time over all the heat soaks. So you might want to replace this little guy right here as well. So number 4 will have to be the charge pipe. The charge pipe broke on me the same day that I tuned it. It just explodes. That plastic is extremely, extremely brittle. So I went with the VRSF charge pipe. Those are the 3 major issues with this engine. Now, of course, there's more reliable engines, but this sits in the middle between the N54 and the B58. Now, I've never had any cooling issues with this car. However, a few people have said that the Mickey Mouse fitting ends up breaking because it's plastic. It gets brittle over time and it will leak. I went ahead and did that when I had the engine out, so I won't have that problem anymore. However, I never had an issue with it. Now, a simple one's going to be oil change intervals. I do them every 3,000 miles. I use Liquid Moly 5W40 with the man filter, of course. Now, a very common mod people do right away is a cold air intake. I've tested this with 2 different intakes, and both of them have given me higher IATs than I'm comfortable with. So I'm running the stock intake box. Now, hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to follow my page. I'll be posting a lot more N55 content for you guys. And if I missed anything, put it down in the comments. How many miles does your N55 have? What issues have you had with it? Let others in the comments know down below. Thank you guys for watching. That's this video. Stay tuned for next video on how to make more power with this platform.